St. John's transfer Jaden Glover is in the transfer portal, and he's got quite a few big schools after him right now. Per John Rothstein, Jaden Glover is being targeted or receiving interest from Kentucky, Gonzaga, Virginia Tech, NC State, Creighton, UAB, Temple, St. Joe's, St. Bonaventure, LaSalle, and UMass. I want to focus in on those first four or five: Kentucky, Gonzaga, Virginia Tech, NC State, and Creighton. Obviously, those are the bigger name schools here, but we can sort of flesh out where we think might be a good fit. Jaden Glover, good recruit, four-star recruit in the 2024 high school class. Ended up at St. John's for his freshman year, where he appeared in 22 games, but only played 6 minutes a game. Averages reflect that, 2 points a game. Shot 35% from the floor, 33% from three. You are essentially just banking on high school pedigree here. There's not really anything he showed at St. John's that I think would be intriguing to any of these schools. Maybe a smaller level doesn't care. But I think the reason you see teams like Kentucky, Gonzaga involved here is because there is belief that this kid can live up to his 55th overall ranking in the 2024 high school class. Let's start broadly, Ralph. What's your general view of Jaden Glover as a prospect?
I don't know, to be fair. I think there is something in there, but it's going to be some time to develop. And that's why I think this recruitment is very interesting. And if you go off the top five you mentioned, I think there's two different dichotomies, like two different groups in those five. You have Kentucky and Gonzaga, which are the bigger, higher profile programs on this list. Feel like you're going to one of those schools to play a bench role and develop and be essentially a I guess now 3-year guy at those schools. Virginia Tech and NC State in particular need starting caliber players. It's like you're going there for a role to really step into somewhere and prove yourself after getting limited minutes in your freshman season at St. John's. Creighton's a bit of an in-between because Creighton is that big program, but I do think there's a spot for him to play at least significant minutes off the bench, maybe the sixth man or seventh man off the bench in that rotation. He's a good player with pedigree, but didn't see anything at St. John's last year that made you think, oh, Rick Pitino has to play him more. I think this season could be pretty crucial for his college career and figuring out where's the best place for him to prove himself, to put some things on film, to contribute in some minutes on the court and get a chance to earn more than the 6 minutes a game he got at St. John's.
Yeah, do you think like at this stage of the transfer portal, obviously it's been going for like 3 weeks at this point, and you look at some of these schools on the list. Kentucky's missed on a few of their primary targets. They've also landed a great class already. Gonzaga, I think, has work to do here with all of the departures that they've had.
Yep.
NC State's trying to round out an entire roster. Creighton did a really good job early with Freeman and Dix, getting them in the fold.
Yep.
So kind of different levels of stages for each of those four schools involved in this recruitment. Does Glover make sense as a gamble for those teams or any of these teams in particular to you?
You might notice there's a lot of lights on behind me. There's a big ring light I'm using to record this. You want to know why those lights stay on? Because of Underdog, because of these ad reads, people.
Yeah, we heard your feedback. You're annoyed that we keep putting Underdog ads in the middle of our videos. Well, guess what? We got to keep the lights on, and we need some people to sign up for Underdog Fantasy. If you like these videos, if you want us to keep making videos, sign up with Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code SLEEPERS, and they actually have an awesome offer for you. You can receive up to $1,000 in bonus credits. 50% of your first deposit will be distributed in bonus credits, and you get a free pick. And Cart, I got a pick with Underdog Fantasy for this weekend that I'm already eyeing. We got the Pistons and the Knicks, first playoff series in a while for our favorite team. Cade Cunningham over 27.5 points. I'm taking higher than that for my pick with Underdog. Promo code SLEEPERS. Sign up with Underdog Fantasy. It helps the show. It helps us keep making these videos for you. Back to the show.
I think it makes sense for all of them. Kentucky, I would say, is a little bit more what's the price here? Because you have, I would say, a more limited role available for him. Gonzaga, if Gonzaga is going to go after him as strongly as they probably need to land him, there's got to be some belief that under Mark Few and the way he develops guards, that he can turn Glover from being that well-regarded high school prospect into being a really good college player, which I'm not going to bet against Mark Few if he's identified that. Glover's got a ton of skill He's got a ton of natural talent, so I wouldn't be surprised with that. I do think it's more important for schools like Virginia Tech and NC State, though, to try and get him because with Mike Young at Virginia Tech, your timeline is a little bit shorter right now, given that some of the hot seat rumors and that you were given more NIL this offseason to build a roster that has not necessarily come to fruition. You got to take some high upside swings. Glover's going to be one of those. Same thing for NC State and Will Wade as well. Will Wade made no bones by the fact he does not want to wait around for a rebuild. He wants a team that can compete right away. Glover is an upside swing. You could take there too. I think he is more valuable as an upside swing to a program like one of those two, as opposed to somewhere like Kentucky where it's going to be a true 2 to 3 year play to see what he develops into.
Yeah, I think out of those schools, like the two you mentioned, NC State, Virginia Tech, it would make sense to almost like overpay for him. Now we're getting
Right.
into like the economic side of this, which we don't need to, but like I think that's what it's probably going to take, right? If a
Yeah.
Kentucky and a Gonzaga are seriously interested in giving this kid a spot, then if you are Virginia Tech, you probably got to almost prioritize him and just woo him with a check to get him there. It would make sense to take that type of swing. Now, if I were Glover, just putting myself in Glover's shoes and I'm going through these options, I'd be a little skeptical of a few of them, to be honest, because let's just take Mike White of Virginia Tech. I look at what they have tried to do with Jaden Shoot, a kid that didn't play, that was a big 4-star prospect at Duke. What happened? He didn't have a good year at Virginia Tech, and they were a bad team. And now you advance your career one more year. NC State, there's a lot of unknowns, which could make sense for Glover just to step in and try and be the face of it. But also, NC State's paid a lot of money for Trey Holloman. They've got veteran guys that are a little more proven that I think will be on the ball in the backcourt that are getting big bags to do so.
Yep.
So I don't know. The one that I actually like out of this list is Gonzaga just because I think you can point to very specific examples of what Mark Few has done with this exact archetype. Guy
Yeah.
that was at one of the top 10 teams in the country just didn't crack the rotation. Hey, come on down and look, I'll turn you into Nolan Hickman, right? Like, not that Nolan Hickman had the best career ever, but at the bare minimum, he's done this a lot with rotation players that have won a
Yeah.
lot of games.
It would make a lot of sense. I think that's probably, as we talk through this, the needle threading of a high profile program and the role. Like that's probably the best chance he's going to get at that, unless NC State becomes really really good in Wade's first season.
Yeah, true. Are we positive Kentucky's actually after him, by the way?
I always take everything with a grain of salt because Kentucky's involved with everybody. It seems that way. Like, yeah, you may put them on your recruiting board, but where are they? Are they like your 35th option and like, well, if we strike out on all these guys, yeah, we'll be more serious about you, but we'll touch base to keep you on the back burner. I think with Kentucky, he's probably more on the back burner than anything else.
I feel like you can tell who Kentucky's actually after based on like how much KSR coverage they're getting. Shout out to KSR, by the way. I love those guys. But I don't know. To me, this almost feels like my agent put them on the list so that I'm bidding against that type of bag. And
Yeah.
we'll see. It's a good move if that is what happened, because now all of a sudden Virginia Tech needs to outbid Kentucky, you know?
Or at least thinks they do.
Right.